world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
speaking into the void?
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to No Question About That, talking about Manchester United won, Fulham won, 4-3 on penalties to Fulham, and United out of the FA Cup. With Daniel today. How's it going, Dan?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. How are you?
Another top day of manuing. Awesome stuff from the lads. Never in the history of penalty shootouts. Yeah, what a team. Never in the history of penalty shootouts I've seen was I less confident about a player scoring than Victor Lindelof stepping up.
So it's funny you say that, because that's not what I thought you were going to say. When you say never in the history of penalty shootouts have I thought you were going to say, watch on my cock out. No, I thought you were going to say, be less confident the goalkeeper was going to make a save.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that too. I mean, Onana did a really good job of replicating David Raya and just diving out the way of everything. It was top stuff.
Diving out the way, especially that key penalty after Lindelof misses. You're like, I'm watching that. And I'm bear in mind also that I'm doing a live blog of this for The Guardian. So I'm having to affect excitement at United's dismay. And I'm just thinking, whatever you do, make him beat you with a shot. Don't fucking dive out the way. And he runs over there. And I'd previously said this I've got this kind of theory, and I've shared it on here before, that dodgy goalkeepers save penalties, like your Dave Besants, your Dudeks, etc., so on. But even though I know Onana's a dodgy keeper, I know that it's unlikely he's going to save anything. And he's just got, although he played all right in the game, actually, he's just got this way of making you feel uncomfortable as regards his presence at any stage of the game. And
yeah, he made two really good saves in the game. Another one, which I guess you could call a good save, where he's diving to his right and sort of went under his hand, but he got enough on it. So from that perspective, it was all right. But yeah, I didn't feel like, he didn't get close to any of the Fulham penalties.
Like some you can't get close to, but there are a couple, the last two, Make them do something. Make it nervy for them.
Over here, we had John Champion and Stuart Robson on comms, and as soon as
oh my goodness
he was
me,
like, I know it's pretty dull.
I've worked with Stuart Robson.
Okay,
on this TV channel called Sports Tonight Live, and
right.
I tried to make tried to be friends. I was introduced to him. Obviously, I know who he is, and I was like, "Oh, born Billericay." Because that's what it said in Panini stickers.
Yeah.
Like nothing. And then we're talking about cricket. And I was saying, because it was a sports show, and I was saying what I thought about some cricket that I professionally spent a lot of time watching and considering. And he immediately began with, Did you play cricket? Because he's played for Essex Twos. And it's just like, okay, you're that. And you spell Stuart with a W.
True story, Daniel. True story. My middle name is Stuart, Stuart, right? The correct way. My dad, who, maybe getting on in a few years, put me in his will as Stewart. And I know, my sister's a lawyer. Yeah, I was like, is this going to cause a problem? She's the executor of the will. And she was like, nah, we'll fix it later, Like, I was like, oh, great.
Funnily enough, my middle name is Lawrence, and my parents spell it with a W. Not WL, obviously. It's not a silent W at the beginning, but LAW. And I've never got out of them a sensible answer as to A, why my middle name is Lawrence, and B, as to why it's spelt like that. But yeah, Daniel Lawrence Harris. Yeah.
We'll be calling you Larry from now on then. All right, Larry, let's get into the game. What did we think? There was a little bit of a switch in strategy from Amorim, I thought. It looked much more like a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 than a 3-4-3 with sort of Eriksen tucking into midfield. And actually for the first sort of 15 minutes or so, United weren't that bad. I mean, I think that's right. As good as it got. First 15 minutes, had some control, not too bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think they started okay because it was surprising to see. And maybe we just don't know what a good start looks like. So we think that anymore. So we think that was one. But it felt like an improvement. And as I said, I was blogging, so it could be quite hard to pick up the vagaries of formation. But I too looked at it and thought it looks like two up front here almost. And I guess we now got so many injuries that he is sort of having to tweak a little bit based on who's available. And I mean, it was one of those games. Obviously, it's fucking annoying that we're out the cup. The season could be over. If we lose 2-0 on Thursday, the season almost done. And it's going to be a long 2 months if we lose this European tie. But so it's annoying that we got beat, but at the same time, it didn't leave that match. I don't come out of that match without thinking, God, it's fucking hopeless. And maybe that's partly because we're looking for anything, really. Like, we're so desperate for it to just get a little bit good. But at the same time, we can see some things improving. And whereas previously, I mean, and I said in the last pod, the last weekend, that I would have picked Obi a couple of weeks ago because I just felt like Hojlund had to be taken out. It's like playing with 10. But I think what we've seen against Everton today is he's now sort of made a case where rather than you put him in because the other bloke's just so dreadful that you don't have an option, you could now put him in because actually he's shown you something.
3 big chances for Obi today, and 2 of them he created himself. The other one he got on the end of, I mean, perhaps he probably should have scored, the one where he's just chipped it past the post. But that's 3 more chances than Hojlund and Xerxes have created for themselves in a dozen games. Yeah.
I felt like the first one, he whips wide. He probably should have passed because he should have seen that the man was there and he didn't have the greatest angle. But at the same time, there's another part of me that's saying, no, I'm pleased that you hit that because Xerxes wouldn't have done. He probably have fucked the pass up as well. It's just, he wants to score goals. He's there to score goals. And before the match, and I looked at the Fulham team, I think that Calvin Bass is quite a good player and saw quite a lot of him when he was playing in Europe with Rangers. And I felt like that is exactly the kind of centre-back that Hojlund can spend 90 minutes fighting with. And when I think about it like that sometimes, I remember something that Scholes once said about playing against Vieira. And it's so simple, but so, yeah, of course. And I say this quite a lot about things that the ex-players say that sound simple, but they're sort of not simple to necessarily think about or to execute. And they asked him what was it like playing Vieira, and Scholes said, I'd just really generally try and stay away from him. And that's exactly it. Like, you've got this amazing player on the other team who is athletically so far, you're dominated that it's ridiculous. Stay away from him. And even though Hojlund should be physical, when you're playing against a massive centre-back, what you're trying to do is take him where he's not comfortable. He's happy to spend all day fighting you, because even if you're good at fighting, even if you're better than he is at fighting, the difference at that is better than the skill differential should be, is smaller than the skill differential should be. So he's more than happy to get involved in that confrontation. Maguire likes it as well. He's much rather you're right in front of him, backing in where he can see you, than in behind where you can embarrass him. And what I think Obi's doing, who's also physical, but only if he has to be, he's generally trying to get away from the defenders. And that's one of the reasons you see him have those 3 chances. The first one, I thought probably should have passed. Then the one that the keeper saves right at the end, I agree. Like, once you're there, you've got to score. But it wasn't a you bottled that miss. It was a good effort, and the keeper made a good save.
I mean, you're exactly right. He spends the whole time marking the defender. And the thing is, what I can't understand is the best of Hojlund is where the ball's in front of him and he's moving into the gap between the fullback and the centre-back. The worst of Hojlund is when he's fighting with defenders and trying to control the ball, because he almost never wins. And I'm just really struggling to understand, because Amorim talked about it a couple of weeks ago where he said, yeah, we're working on that in training, which was interesting because previously he'd said something like, well, we give players instructions, but we don't specifically work with them one-on-one, right? And I was like, well, he's now saying they are working with him, but it's now 19 games without a goal. And I'm not quite sure what they're working on, right? And
it's not even without a goal, by the way. How many chances has he had in that time? How many times have you thought you've got to score? You might score. Like, nothing. It's playing with 10.
He's averaging about a shot a game, just over a shot a game this season, and his efficiency rate is below 20%, right? Which has gone down as well. And he was a reasonably efficient forward. So on that basis alone, and not even talking about the quality of chance, the XG of it, you'd say, well, he's likely to score once every 5 games, right? But he's not even getting good chances with those one shot per game. It's horrendous.
So I took some notes. Yeah, I recorded something that Amorim said about him because I thought a few things you said recently have made me think, okay, I feel like we've got the part right where you understand what has to be done with these players in this team, more or less. Then it's going to be about, can you get the right players and can you get them to do what you want to do? Can you make it work? But what he said about Hojlund was, we have to look at Rasmus as a player. He has the pace, he has the technique. He scored some goals that are really hard to score. Sometimes he doesn't choose the better run. Sometimes he's so anxious to touch the ball and he moves away from the goal. We address that in training, but sometimes it's the confidence of the player. And I think I agree with all of that. That what's frustrating about Hojlund is he isn't useless. We've seen him do enough really, really good things to say he's not useless. So it's frustrating to see him be useless over and over again. But the manager seems to know what about him is useless. Can they get him doing the right things? I mean, we'll find out.
Absolutely. I mean, there have been periods in his time at United where you're like, okay, there's a player here. I see some raw ingredients, and like he looks like he could be a good quality number 9. He had that short period where he scored 7 goals in 7 games and then got injured again. He's now been fit for a sustained period of time, but he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look confident. He doesn't look like he's going to create himself anything. He doesn't look like the team's going to create anything for him. And you make a combination with Josh Zirkzee, who in moments you're like, okay, nice feet, nice pass, nice layoff or whatever, but almost never gets in a position where he's going to score a goal ever. And you're like, where are the goals going to come from?
There's a Yiddish, there's a Hebrew word that they use in the Gemara, and they need the oral or the Talmud, tachlis, I guess, sort of brass tacks, and there's no tachlis with Zirkzee. There's no of that actual thing. It's like, that's why you get in the team. You're in the team because there's no one else. And yeah, again, not without talent. Put the two of them together, you'd have a player. But I think, and also the problem that they also have is because we don't create chances, we don't score goals, we don't win games, we don't win them easily. They're never getting, you see it so often with players who are out of form, like a tap-in to make it 4-0. Just those little bits that get you going. A penalty because the penalty you're winning and the penalty taker's been taken off. Just little things that when you're struggling don't happen. There's none of those kind of artificial little bursts of confidence. It's just grim and grim and grim until you somehow are able to force something better. And so I would have played Obi a couple of weeks ago because I felt like it can't get worse now. And he's obviously too good for age group football. And there's nothing going on all these league games. So it's sort of, I could justify it to myself just about in that way, though. There's obviously another part of me that's saying, shut up, you're an idiot.
Yeah, well, you don't want to ruin the kids, surely, because dropping a talented player into a crap team is not usually a formula for success, but this is so bad, and he's shown little glimpses that you kind of get to the view that why not? What I've seen of him in age group football is he a little bit the same as we saw today. Honestly, doesn't get involved very much. But when there's the opportunity, it's obviously he's facing worse defenders with more space, so he gets more chances. And he is a really effective finisher, which was, I guess, the sad irony today where he got himself 3 big chances through mostly his own work and his own movement and couldn't quite finish one. Yeah, which is not what we've generally seen from him.
Yeah, I think he's confident now. He's got some swagger. I think he thinks he's going to be a top player. So with some raw, and because the other thing you wonder about people like him is it just a physical advantage? Because he's a man early, he's filled out, he's massive. Is it that playing against, especially when you think about the fact that defenders tend not to mature until they're a bit older? But we had Alan Shearer in commentary who's saying he likes what he's seeing. And I mean, when I say stuff like that, I always remember that Gary Lineker loved Robert Earnshaw's movement. But it's just the ability to get into the game. Whenever you play football at any level, the best player on the pitch or in the playground, somehow the ball always finds them. They always find the ball. And there'll be other players who you can play, but you're not as good as them, and you're searching for the ball. And I feel that that's what Hojlund's doing. Whereas the best players, the ball finds them. They find the ball. And I'm not, obviously I've only seen Obi play a few times, but that is a skill. And I wonder if he might have it. Physically, I guess I'd like him to be a little bit quicker than he is, but he's probably quick. But with the power, he's quick enough. I mean, if you think someone like Harry Kane or Eric, although the game's changed a bit since Eric stayed, most of the defenders quicker. If they get away, even though they're not electric, if they get away, then you do well to catch them before they shoot. And I think that with Obi's physicality, even though he's not lightning, he'd be quite hard to get back at by anyone once he's clear, because he's also got the size and the ability to kind of protect the ball because he's so big.
There were a couple of bright spots-ish, or things to note in defeats. Bruno again proving how utterly useless he is by scuffing one into the corner with his left foot.
I just imagine he had even 3 players of comparable quality. And I guess there was a time when he sort of did, when he sort of had Rashford and Varane, but Varane was never quite fit when Rashford was playing well so much. And they were sort of hinting at getting a little bit good when that was the case. But yeah, I mean, another brilliant goal out of nothing almost. And it's annoying that he's playing deep as well, because he's not getting many chances like that during the game. There was also a good cross he put in. Because no one else can pass the ball through midfield.
I know it's a compromise, but it's a compromise. I think Amorim's just come to the view that he just kind of has to do that. Otherwise, we never get the ball forward. And as a result, Bruno ended up in this game playing quarterback. Like, he's getting the ball off the keeper. That was a lovely pattern. I'll get back to Bruno in a second. But the pattern of Onana into one of the wide centre backs, into one of the wing backs, back to Onana, hump it long, lose the ball. Over and over again, that pattern. But at points, Bruno was the man. Bruno was the man getting the ball off the keeper or the centre backs, and he's super deep and he's trying to do the progression. He's also the man doing the tackling. He's also the man trying to pass it into the final third. He's the man getting on the end of chances. I mean, he can't keep doing that. I don't know how he stays fit playing this much football. Like, he plays everything,
a freak
all of the time. He's a freak. He should be injured a lot more.
And although, he's had periods in seasons. He didn't start this season that well. He had a period last season wasn't that good, but the level of consistency given. And I'm going to say this again, I think, because I know we said it the other day, we talked about him being the Brian Robson of this generation. And he's not probably quite as consistent as Robbo was, but Robbo was playing with way better players. Not all the time, but Hughes, like some versions of Hughes, McGrath, and Whiteside were around for a lot of Robson's United career. And imagine if Bruno had three players like that with him. It would not look like this. Yeah, he's a freak of nature. We're lucky to have him. I feel bad for him that he's here. And I really, really hope we can get good while he's still good. Did you hear what the Fulham fans were singing? Yeah, just before the goal that they score.
Bruno, he looks like a rat.
He looks like a rat. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Incidentally, the corner for their goals was not a corner, and he knew it wasn't a corner. And that was when he started getting vexed. That was when they called him a rat.
Yeah. He didn't look like it, although I'd missed two winnable headers. Ugarte just doesn't jump with his man. And for the first header, and who's it on the line? Is it Xerxes? No, Mazraoui, who it doesn't get out. It sort of like jumps under it. I'm not really quite sure how either of them missed that one.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, what do you make of the defending in general?
I thought I was going to bring him up. I thought De Ligt did the box defending really well today. He does the kind of stuff that obviously is important when you're backs against the wall. It wasn't so much today that United were under a lot of pressure, but also fans like, which is, kick it, head it, whack it away, Rose there, make the crunching tackles. He did a lot of that today, De Ligt.
I mean, and he hit that switch also quite a few times in the first half to Dalot. I mean, I'm not sure if we should praise him for hitting it or be like, why you passed into that knobhead? I don't know.
I mean, pass to someone.
No. I'm joking. It was obviously something they'd worked on because he did it a few times and he hit it perfectly 3 times from very different positions with different kinds of pass. And I guess that too is something that we'll see more of. And when we've got Dorgu back there in midweek, hopefully, then maybe we'll see, because we know that he likes bug swatchers. So maybe we'll see that a little bit more often. And we've seen that he can hit those passes. Talking about the box defending, I liked what Amorim said in the week about him and Harrens as well. He goes, when we are together and have De Ligt and Maguire defending the box, they are really strong. When they have to cover a lot of space, the game changes for them. That's what euphemism is. Yeah, that's like beautifully put. Especially like in your second language, the game changes for them. They are shit. So I know that they're comfortable being on the back foot. So he said that, I guess, after Ipswich. And that was also something that was heartening. And that also goes back to what I said earlier about it feels like he knows what's required. He loves fast defenders. And the way that he wants to play, you need your defenders to be fast as well. And so, I mean, I was quite pleased to see Heaven come on also. I thought he did well too. And because
he did fine,
I'm thinking that just because this next 2 months could be just so awful. Again, like we're going to need to sign a defender in the summer who can run quickly if he's not good. And it feels like it might be worth, I mean, taking off Harrens in extra time to bring him on made you think that the manager's got a bit of faith in him. Whereas previously we thought, well, he's just sitting there doing nothing. What's the point? Like, does the manager not think he's ready? Whereas now you see him, I thought he did well. And I think I'm just constantly looking for ways to make what could be a really grim bit of United with Mainu out for a while. Anad's also out. Just, it could be horrible the next bit of time. And we've got to find a way of making it not like that if we can. So if there's any chance that he will, because you don't want them to get embarrassed. And as you said earlier, you put a kid into a crap team. You can't expect them to elevate it necessarily. But if you put them into a crap team that, like an attacker into a crap team that has Bruno in it, then you can see what might happen. And if similarly, a centre-back, when there are 3 of you, you've got a bit more safety in numbers. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But I thought it was promising from Heaven. He came into a situation that could have been nervy, and I thought did quite well.
He did fine. He did absolutely fine. I mean, given that Lindelof will definitely be off in the summer, and so will Johnny Evans, then there's definitely room in the squad for him. We'll see what they do in the transfer market. We've seen in previous squads. Kukoni was in the squad as well. He played age group football this week, so I don't know exactly what they think of him, but he's obviously spent a lot of time with the first team squad as well. Aidan Heaven, I mean, they announced him as a first team player, didn't they, when they brought him in the winter, and clearly looks like he's going to get some opportunities, and I thought he did just fine. It'd be nice if we had a midfielder who could come through as well. I mean, there's obviously...
Well, there's Kone, who I think they think will be the one. If any of them make it, it will be him. And I would imagine that he's someone, again, that we might see before the end of the season. Incidentally, I wasn't on him midweek, but talking of Harrods, his ear cup into knee slide against Ipswich.
Classic of the genre, wasn't it?
It was just so good. Oh, man.
Lots of commentary about that one. Yeah, I know. It was brilliant. He's just not listening to the criticism, Dan. That's it. Yeah. So, I mean, what else? Were there any other bright spots? I mean, some good bits in the first half, a couple of players we can pick out as, obviously.
I thought Garnacho did all right.
It did all right when he came on. He was willing. He ran. He took on men on the outside or the inside.
It's not quite happening.
Yeah.
But he did make us better. So it's not like he didn't make us good enough, but we were better with him than without him.
Yeah. But look, if there's given Hojlund's troubles and his proclivity to just fight with defenders all the time and Josh Xerxes' total and utter lack of pace, insert any trait of his into there. But you need someone with some speed up front. Just someone. And at least he's got that. He'll move with pace and direct running. And he always wants to make something happen, even if it doesn't quite happen. So I don't know whether it was a punishment today for his minor breach of sort of team camaraderie by traipsing off down the tunnel against Ipswich. I'm not sure. Or whether it was rotation. But we need to see more of him in the team.
Yeah, I thought the manager handled that well, actually.
Fine, just fine. Yeah. He laughed it off. It was a day's news cycle, wasn't it?
Yeah, laughed it off. There was a minor punishment, and yeah, fine. So yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed is Fulham kicked off. So presumably, United have chosen to attack the Stretford end in the first half. Usually that would only happen. That would only happen if the other side won the toss. But I don't think the way there's not two separate tosses, or maybe are there two separate tosses now?
No, there's one. Yeah, you toss for kick-off and then the other side picks the direction.
Can you pick not to kick off?
I have no idea. It's something I've never thought about.
It just seemed like United, and I wondered if that was because they didn't want the pressure or because they thought they would want to try and score in the first half.
Yeah, no idea. I mean, normally it's kind of protocol, isn't it? The away team will allow, like whoever wins the toss. If it's United, you attack the Stretford end in the second half. If it's the away team, they'll do the same thing because it's just kind of protocol. I
don't think it's protocol. It's that they want to attack where their supporters are, which is at the other end.
Yeah, right. All right.
Well,
and if it goes the other way around, the crowd boos and we all have a good laugh about it. And I don't know that it makes any kind of difference at all. But yeah, I mean, maybe United are like, yeah, we need a goal in the first half because we haven't scored a goal in the first half of a game from open play for pick your number of games. Although actually, didn't we score from open play against Ipswich? Anyway, it's hardly any this season in first halves.
We're shit either way.
Yeah.
Long story short, it's shit. We won in the Youth Cup at Arsenal.
Did, and they've been in the semi-finals. Yeah, it was a good victory at Arsenal.
Where some friends of mine were coming out and they got accosted by none other than Ty from Arsenal Fan TV. The
Joy.
Yeah, the guy with the Arsenal everything, every piece of. They were singing on the way out, and he couldn't contain himself. So yeah, he ended up getting embarrassed by a 15-year-old, I believe.
Deary me. Football fans, they've never seen away fans at a ground, no?
I was once coming out of a game with my dad, and it was Norwich where Giggs scored at the end. we're leaving, we're going back, and I turn around and somehow my dad's getting into verbals with a Norwich fan. And goes to me, Sam, I don't understand some people. Just take football so seriously. What's wrong with them? Like, this really, just like to agitate this Norwich fan who starts to quicken his step. So my dad goes to quicken his step in the opposite direction and falls over.
Great.
I know. It was funny.
Given that we're out of the FA Cup, that's one route into Europe closed down. The next one is the Europa League, which becomes like all-encompassing now this season. It's the only thing that matters, really. I mean, you could like, it will get about, if we ended up in the Champions League by winning the Europa League, you can, like, the average amount of revenue English teams are making this season is over 80 million euros, right? So, and obviously if you get into the knockout rounds, it's probably more. You can make £3 million per place in the Premier League. So we'd probably have to finish in the like 5 or 6 for it to be more lucrative than winning the Europa League, which is one way of saying that's the only thing that matters this season, is Europa League. So we're having an away game at Real Sociedad this Thursday. They are not very good at the moment. They got spanked today by Barcelona, albeit losing a man early on. They're sort of mid-table in La Liga. They've given us trouble in the past, but it's kind of a quality of side that we ought to, in theory, given it's Manchester United, be better than. And yet. I mean, we don't score goals. And it's hard to beat anyone when that happens. And we have improved a little bit in bits and pieces of games. We'll be better, hopefully, with Dorgu, give a bit more balance, a bit more physicality. Yeah, he'll be back.
But we don't score goals. And on that point with the goals, though, we do appear to have got a bit better at set pieces. And I think part of it's because Maguire and De Ligt both go forward actually looking to do something. But also, out of nowhere, Bruno's delivery wasn't as good today, but Bruno's delivery the last few weeks has been excellent, having not been particularly good the time he's at United. And it does feel like they're practicing those and improving at them.
Yeah, I always thought with Bruno, he does the kind of Beck's thing from corners where he tries to hit it flat, which means it's extremely dangerous if it beats the first man. Often it doesn't. And a few of them have gone a little bit deeper. But yeah, they've got 2 set-piece coaches. You'd think they'd be getting better at it, although managed to concede a really crap one today.
The ball for the one that Maguire scores against Leicester was an incredible pass because he hit it like a pass. He just kind of drilled it flat, like you said, into like diagonally to the far side of the box, where rather than curling it in, which would have, so he took the straight route basically instead of the long way round, which made it much easier for Maguire to get ahead of the game and score, made it much harder to cut out. But yeah, I mean, maybe we'll score one against Sociedad, I guess, but we don't score goals. So yeah, any tie is tough. It's a massive game for them, so it will be difficult being away. I used to quite like being at home first, even in the days of away goals, because it meant that occasionally you could finish a tie in the first leg, but if you went away first, the other side would be coming to Old Trafford almost guaranteed to still be in it, and then that silence when an away goal goes in is just one of my worst things in football. Now I hate that.
2 of my most abiding memories from the time when United were just getting good in Europe, but not quite good enough, were those 2 games against Dortmund and then Monaco in the late 90s. And the sound when David Trezeguet hit that one into the top corner, you could hear a pin drop anywhere in that stadium. It's absolutely silent. You hear the ripple of the net and it's just gone dead. And you're like, all your hope drains out of your body at that moment. You're like, oh God, again.
Yeah. It's just it's the worst thing. And so I always used to, even in the days of away goals, used to quite like being at home first, because felt like, get a foothold in. Like, if you think even like Porto, say, which is another like awful silence. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
It was, that they were really good in the first leg, but if we'd have played them at home, we might have beaten them by a couple of goals, and then it's very different. So, but no away goals now. I mean, you'd hope to not be more than a goal behind going into the second leg, but it's not. The thing also is like we're not gonna. We'll have Dorgu, but apart from him, we're not getting really anyone back by then. We're not going to have Mainoo back for that. We're not going to have Ahmad back this season.
It's just Dorgu back for a Thursday, yeah.
It's not easy to find the ways it's going to get better because we don't have better players to put into it, and the system can only take these players so far. Not that far.
Let's talk about Sociedad a little bit, or La Real, sorry, and to give it the correct name. I know that one's always like important. They've dropped off a little bit. They obviously lost Mikel Merino, went to Arsenal. Oyarzábal's not having a good season. Zubimendi, I guess it was a surprise they kept hold of him because he put his price really high, but he's a sort of defensive midfielder in there. But this is not the La Real of last season where they finished sixth. And no, it was a good side, right? And it's not the side that beat us 4 or 5 years ago when we played them. We lost one and then won quite handily, and it was one of those COVID games, wasn't it? It was in Turin or something like that. It was a neutral ground.
Did we play Sociedad with Moyes as well?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think there was one like a few years beforehand. Yeah,
they've definitely got it in them to score a couple of goals against us. Like you can see us going behind and it getting unpleasant quite quickly. But if we play well, we shouldn't lose.
Top stuff. When's the last time we played well, Dan?
Arsenal Cup, maybe. That was that Everton game, home game. That wasn't okay. Liverpool in the last year.
Yep. Yeah, they're not. There's some shouts.
All strong contenders. What a state of affairs, Edward.
I mean, I know there are no other options, right? We have a plan. We're sticking with it. Amorim said today, we know where we're going, basically. I'm paraphrasing him. And we just have to keep going. We'll see where we get to, he said, which didn't fill me full of confidence. It's like left it open-ended like this. But it went knocked out against Sociedad. I mean, it's going to be grim till the end, really, really grim until the end of the season. I mean, we won't actually have much football. Like, we'll have one game a week and it won't be very good either. Not trying to get all hyperbolic about this because, they're going to stick with him whatever, but it's really going to be desperately bad if we don't come through this tie. I mean, it's hard to put into words how bad the back end of March, April and May would be. And the only thing we'd have to look forward to is a post-game game in Hong Kong against whoever the fuck.
That's literally, you're looking forward. Yeah, you're looking forward to the summer really at that point. And but even so, even if we beat them, it still feels like at some point we'll lose.
Just to a half-decent side, yeah.
Well, there aren't any half-decent sides. We'll lose to someone roughly as shit as we are that is less shit on the day. Probably. He needs to, and that brings me back to what I said about Obi and Heaven, is just that you need to try and do something to inject some energy, to inject some hopefulness. And the only way to do that is because Ahmad's injured, because Mainoo's injured is them. Like, it's a terrible state of affairs. And they shouldn't have to do that. But yeah, sometimes you put players in and they're ready. I guess he'll know whether they are or whether they're not. But if they're not, then it's very hard to see where the positivity is coming from.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we don't get there. I mean, it's so badly needed on any dimension you think of. The one thing you'd say is I don't think this will be a high-scoring game. Real Sociedad have only scored 23 goals in La Liga this season. We don't score goals either, so it's guaranteed 4-4 on Thursday then. Oh, dear me. But by the way, we didn't really talk about it, but the quality of the game today was absolutely dreadful. I mean, it's just such a low-quality game. And I don't know whether that's us playing down to Fulham's level or them playing down to ours. Probably the latter.
it's quite hard for us to be involved in a good game of football because we're so slow and incoherent.
Yeah,
I'd say. I thought the Liverpool game was not a bad game of football. I think I quite enjoyed the Arsenal Cup game. Other than that, I can't think of too many games that have been good. Because the thing is this one looked like it might be good for 20 minutes, and then you realise that actually no, that was the best they could manage. So that was going to be the high point, and they weren't even going to. That was the best it was going to get, and they weren't going to sustain it. I thought United did okay in extra time. Extra time was quite enjoyable. I thought, which is unusual for extra time relative to other extras time. Is that the plural? But yeah, it would be good if it was good, but it's shit. I know.
Oh dearie me.
And I genuinely just try and find. You always try and find positivity, and the positivity is I think the manager's a good guy. Seems, and he's picked one player so far, Dorgu, who looks like he's good. So I think we can try and give him that. He seems to know what is required. I wonder if he knows that he might need 2 midfielders.
Well, he will do because Eriksen's going out of contract. They won't renew it. And Casemiro, they will take any deal possible to get him off the books, for sure. I mean, whether they can or not is another question. But yeah, he'll need 2 midfielders and a defender and a striker.
You're not getting properly good if Ugarte and Bruno is your 2 there. You're not gonna get good. You're going to improve with the other players, but that won't be enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult path here, both financially and in terms of making the deals right. They're going to have to get like every single one right. They can't afford failures, and we can't afford like ready-made players anyway, and we definitely can't if they're not in the Champions League. Champions League qualifications via the Europa League is 2 players, basically. Maybe 3 at Dorgu level prices, and it's just such a big difference, and just accelerates the project by a year. Sorry, I hate to use that word, project. It's a fucking football club. But yeah, or the alternative. I mean, honestly, is probably more job cuts and player sales, and maybe even a big player sale like Garnacho or Mainu, where they can book all the profit in 1 year.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like we might have a good chance. Looks like we might have a good chance of getting rid of Rashford, I guess. And so, like, if he carries on playing as he's playing, someone he'll accept will take him.
All right, let's leave it there. It's such a big game on Thursday. I mean, it shouldn't be. Like 12th place in La Liga versus 15th place in the Premier League for a Europa League round of 16. Top stuff, but it's an absolutely massive game for United. So, come on.